So I wanted to give an update for the channel because I know I disappeared on a lot of people, and so I want to be upfront and honest about some things that happened and why I haven't been making videos lately. Almost 3 years ago, I quit my job at an insurance company because I couldn't stand the work environment. It actually had good benefits and pay, but I couldn't tolerate what the company was doing. I started to get very paranoid of the company, worrying that they were watching everything I was doing, and I also had several angry outbursts before leaving. I had a lot of money saved up and I lived with a friend so I could develop some game engine, and around this time I learned about Felix Guattari, whom I got really interested in because of his militant attitude and his relationship with disabled people, especially mental illness. This very rapidly became the main interest of my work. Long story short, because of other circumstances in my life, which possibly include a drug injury caused by a random prescription drug like 5 years ago, I went totally nuts for like 18 months.
Wow, it's just like real life, man. What the?
Like, we're talking a disconnect from reality, hearing voices and seeing things, all of it. At the end, I was eventually hospitalized, I was medicated, and I was diagnosed with severe bipolar and having psychotic episodes. It was rough. And during this time, I really fell in love with what Guattari was trying to achieve with his radical social and psychiatry takes, which resulted in me making the channel. Because I really regretted some of my behavior during the episode, I felt like a channel was a mistake, and I tried to distance myself from the projects that I had created. I felt like that in order to accept that these things existed, that I did it in a time of total mania. So for 6 months, I tried to just forget about the channel, and I was horribly depressed about my life. It was embarrassing that I went crazy for so long and that I was so uncontrollable. It was only until very recently that I started to have another episode, and I was realizing that my relationship with mental illness was going to be a long and tiresome one. It wasn't something that I was going to just be able to throw away and pretend didn't happen, and now I've really been having to process and deal with my emotions on the problem. My biggest conflict and fear, of course, was the heavy stigma associated with mental illness, especially this belief that people who are mentally ill can't understand their own thoughts, which of course is not really true at all. Instead, it's kind of more like these thoughts that emerge that I can't control, that are absurd and give me bizarre experiences, like a glitch. And I can still think around it, but it becomes more and more difficult if it gets worse. And most of the time I don't really have a problem at all. Most of the time it's not really a problem, it's only a problem sometimes. But admitting to these things reveals a special kind of social weakness. The admission that one's life isn't linear and causally related. The admission of not being rational. The things that I experienced were various parts of myself across time, becoming a singular powerful machine, completely foreign and alien to my eyes, suddenly completely dominating my life and behavior, with no way to consciously stop it even if I was aware. There are a lot of things that I did that I regret. I regret being so aggressive and defensive to people, as well as a lot of my behavior in specific incidents. I also learned to not regret everything I did, because I think the inherent project of this channel is a good one, and one that has a lot of potential to offer, that I think Guattari would at least think is pretty cool. It turns out too that in the meantime I did get a job, so most of the time I am too busy to make videos a lot of the time. But I do have a few projects that I'm working with other people that I do want to publish that continue the channel. I really want this channel to be a lot more than one voice. In fact, it would be amazing to capture many voices on these ideas, not from academic sources, but from everyday people. I really do think the channel is a good thing. It introduces people to difficult concepts from a simple, funny point of view. The people who need to see it most, I think. It's okay if it's somewhat incomplete because, well, holy shit, have you ever read Guattari? Everything he ever did was incomplete. And with a few exceptions, I want to keep up my videos that I made while I was crazy. Because it's not like it's going away anytime soon, and honestly, it's good stuff. It's getting people interested in this otherwise obscure author. I want to keep making videos as well, but to be completely honest, I'm really not sure what to write about, but I'm sure I'll come up with something.